All right, give me another test, Kenny.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Looking good, buddy. All right, 1, 2, 3, boom. Hi, welcome to episode 219 of Control Talk. Now, your smart building video cast and podcast for the week ending March 19th, 2017. And the big question on everybody's mind is, where is the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only Kenny Smyers, the controls guy from Pittsburgh? Because guess what? He's not in Pittsburgh. So Kenny, welcome to the show and tell us where the heck you are, buddy.
I'd love to, Eric. I'm in San Antonio, Texas at the Talon VAP Siemens meeting. They have an annual meeting, much like the other manufacturers. This one's a little bit unique. We're enjoying some very nice weather here. It's 78 degrees and just sunshine. And of course, the Northeast is afflicted with snow and very cold temperatures. So I'm down here at a great meeting. It's the Talon Channel Partner meeting. Siemens actually combines it with three business units, the fire and then the other business units. They sequence them one after another. But we're down here with some great people, some of the top systems integrators and top controls people in the United States of America. I got to meet I'm very happy to know that we have such an incredible staff of people that are just, around the country from Washington, Florida, different people. And it's like being at the Pro Bowl. These guys are probably the top representatives of their company. And they do things a little bit different with the Talon VAP, Value-Added Partner Channel. But
tell us a little bit about that, Kenny, because you've been doing it for a while. I know we just got set up with them not too long ago, but it is different. For our audience out there who might not sort of know, tell them what Talon is. I mean, I think a lot of people, when they think of Talon, they think of the branch product and sort of, but this is a little bit different product. Sort of how does it differ, and why should people care?
Well, okay, so the monolithic approach from many years ago that everybody knows about and is still very, very powerful in our industry is the branch presence. And the branch offers customers in the MUSH markets, municipalities, universities, schools, and hospitals, one of those deep pocket entities that can handle A to Z. They can handle the HVAC, they can handle the lighting, the elevators, hospitals, ORs, so it's a very, very complex vertical integration. Siemens branches are they get their share of the market around the world. Remember, Siemens is global. And so Talon is a deviation from the branch approach, just like Johnson has the ABCS channels and Honeywell has the ACS and ASD channels. Siemens has a Talon channel. Now, what they've done is they're also very good and adept with the Niagara. So they're all about Niagara 4 right now. They got everything updated and ready to go. But in certain parts of the country, the Talon VAP, your value-added partner, is your access to the Siemens and the Siemens expertise. Siemens, like all these big control companies, has an incredible product portfolio from A to Z, from the sensors to the actuators to the valves, and then the PIC V valve. They're also into the intelligent smart devices, and they've got some smart stuff. So this is a meeting where they're introducing a lot of the software and hardware features and benefits of the new and improved Siemens. So we always say about this, it's not your same Siemens, or it's the software side of Siemens.
Not your father's Siemens. Exactly.
Well, they have some very young, competent leadership. Scott Hamilton, Josh Felpern, and we have some video coverage.
Speaking of Josh Felpern, he is a rising star, a young gun, been around the industry for a while. I think he's having a big influence. You had a chance to catch up with him. I got some video footage. What do you say we play that for our audience right now?
Texas, with Josh Felpern, the senior Siemens sales manager, and we are having an excellent time. Josh, his last time we were with Josh, he had a fedora on, if you all remember, from the Control Trends Awards in 2014. Now Josh is he's got the Texas look. Josh, welcome to the show.
I'm an official cowboy now, so I did trade the fedora in for the cowboy hat, and happy to have you guys here.
Well, and again, Josh recognized the sales team and his operation team by giving them Texas hat salutes on all their pictures and the portraits. You can see the screen behind us. It's an excellent location, beautiful weather. They had a great golf outing and a reception last night. And today we started the more serious side of the sessions. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so all the fun's over. Now we're back to the actually working. So everybody had fun yesterday. We had some DXR training classes, and some other guys went golfing. of course, there might have been some bar stories late night. But yeah, so today, going over the general session was how we kicked things off. But now the most important, the substance, the content behind our summit, the breakouts. Have 7 different breakouts, technical and sales track, where folks are going, they're learning on how Siemens is going to help them differentiate themselves and make things happen in their marketplaces, increase their operational efficiencies, which is such an important thing in our industry, and again also differentiate themselves going to market with the total room automation.
It's good stuff, and I say everyone knows that in order for it to be a great control company on a global level, you have to have great products, and we were able to see some really great products. Good solid products, and you have some new products. Tell us about some new products.
Yeah, so the DXR TRA solution, I think that's best in class with not only are we doing building automation control, but lighting control, blind control, full automation, room automation system, which is different than any other manufacturer out there to help our value-added partners across the country differentiate themselves.
I was at that breakout, and Siemens has some really incredible support themes going on here. Effective sales strategies, marketing with the talent, talking about influencing the influencers, and particularly with the TRA, the total room automation concept is where we have total integration. We have HVAC maximized with lighting, maximized with comfort control. So it's a one-of-a-kind opportunity, and we got to show. We have a nice event planned for tonight, but what goes on tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're full. We got a full agenda again, full of breakouts in the morning. Then we've got about 55, 60 vendors here, and also showing off Siemens product at our trade show. So that's one for 2-3 hours. It's definitely one of the most beneficial things for our partners to utilize other vendors and also see all the Siemens products and have. Be able to have conversations with the experts, our product management team. And then in the afternoon tomorrow, we've got a great keynote speaker, that was on America's Got Talent coming. They're going to be juggling some Siemens fire alarms, damper actuators, some chainsaws. Hopefully won't cut off our VP's head when they're juggling that. And then most importantly, we finish with the awards dinner and recognize the achievements of our partners that did the best around the country, recognize them tomorrow night. And I do have a special surprise for them, but I can't tell that yet. Okay.
All right, Josh. Well, that's a great story. Control Trends wants to congratulate Siemens again for winning the BT300, the 3rd year in a row, the VFD of the year, and to Dave Rodello, the large manufacturer, technical support person of the year. Well done.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Damn, Kenny, man, you are really getting good here. Listen, man, we were getting some texts from your female fans here. They want to know if we're going to see any clips of you on a cowboy hat.
You know what? I remember it was the coolest thing, Eric. I've been in Texas many times, but I was actually stationed here. I went through basic training.
That's right.
Enlisted, and I spent the hot months here in basic training. And then when I was an 811XO, so instead of PCS into another location for training and getting out of Texas, I walked across the street with my suitcases right to the security specialist training school, which was in Lackland too, and spent another 8 weeks or 10 weeks there. And then after I was done with that, I went to Camp Bullis, which was like 40 miles down the road, for another 8 weeks. So I spent about 8 months in Texas straight. And I got to like Texas. And I spent, one of the biggest acquisitions I bought was one of the Stetson hats with the big ostrich feather.
Nice.
And I loved the thing. And, it was the best tan I ever had when I was down here in Texas.
No, hang on. You still got that hat?
I don't. My daughter's.
No. Let me tell you what happened. I can guarantee I can tell you what happened. You had the really cool hat. You looked good in it. You got a lot of attention. You got married. And that was the second thing she threw out, right?
No. Actually, my daughter's here. The hat had a story because I went to Germany at PCS next at Camp Bullis to Germany. And I wore that cowboy hat down to the Hofbrauhaus in Munich. I was hanging out with a bunch of guys. We went down there on a trip, and these Germans wanted to buy my hat. I couldn't keep them off my hat. They wanted this cowboy hat because it was a real thing and it was cool looking. And some guy, now that I think about it, I should have done it. He offered me about the equivalent of $500, and I thought, well, I'd paid over $100, so I'd still be, But I like the hat. But my daughters used to wear for Halloween and different skits. They were doing things, and they just beat that thing up so bad. And one day it disappeared, and I didn't even cry about it. But yeah, there was a lot of memories about it. But
well, hang on, we got a text in from a guy named Mark Peacock or Peacock, and he wants to know if you ever wore the hat with the green bell bottoms and the platform shoes to Studio 54.
There was two different generations.
Two different generations. All right.
The 70s versus the 80s, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then Jenny's asking, will you be buying another hat down in Texas, and would you wear it on the show? It'd make her really happy.
Perhaps. We'll give it some thought.
All right, Kenny. Hey, that was good stuff, buddy. But the biggest insult you can give somebody in Texas is say they're all hat and no cattle. But I think in Josh's case, we would agree. He's got some cattle in there too. What do you think, buddy?
Oh yeah. Josh did a good job. He was one of the primary stage presences. They a lot of time where we were sitting in general sessions and in breakouts, and Josh probably was in over half of the general sessions where he is addressing the assembly. There's probably 400 people here. Just the whole big. The room's filled. I didn't get a chance to really do a head count, but I just know that there was well over 300 people. So I'm going to guess probably like 400. And again, the whole complex here with the JW Marriott Resort at the San Antonio location, and Siemens is bringing their other business units in, the fire and security, and then there's the alarm side. So there's probably 1,200 Siemens partners down here right now at this moment in this facility. So it's all Siemens today.
Rocking and rolling. All right, buddy. Well, it kind of looks like maybe you're like in the Aztec Golden Summit. You got this golden light around you. So it's beautiful Texas light, or man, your halo's gotten bigger, one of the two. But you look good, buddy.
It's my preeminence, my eminence. Yeah. No, I tell you what it is the sun is so bright. It's just sneaking through a little part of the curtain, hitting off the bronze. Everything's beautiful. This is I'm in the hotel room here. And getting some sanctuary here. We got another big thing popping up tonight. The award ceremony begins tonight at 7:00, and they're going to give out the highest performers in different divisions, and then also they give out the golf awards. My brother David won a long drive, so I'll see what he wins. And then it's more of a festive. There was a lot of work accomplished here, and again, it was a good environment. So during the sessions, it's a lot of training too. First day was DXR training, some new concepts where they're integrating the lighting features into the HVAC. If you're going to put a controller in a zone, it should be able to control other things than just the HVAC equipment. So now that they're bringing it all into bear, where you can control the lighting.
Well, that's right. A big trend we've been tracking, man. I think it has to do with the $300 thing we're talking about, but being able to control the lighting, because I think that has a big effect on performance. But so awards tonight, buddy. But hey, getting back to home base here at Control Trends, our first post of the week was Control Trends VAV Controller of the Year. And I tell you what do you think of that video, big dog?
Well, I tell you, the thing that, again, I enjoy it. And by the way, everybody said to say hello to you. They wouldn't know. They automatically assume that there's a show and a summit or a meeting or a national affair that Control Trends is going to be there, and they wouldn't know where Eric Stromquist was. Where's the other guy? Well, and I said, well, he actually had two guys down here. He's Rob Allen helped me with the video with Josh, and then you had Stephen Smitherman. He's a bright guy. I sat next to him in the DXR training, and he's just a whiz on the programming side of things. And what was neat about the Distech controls is, again, when you have everybody's got a great product, and to differentiate, you really have to extend yourself, and you really have to get the support of the community. And Distech won the VAV Control of the Year, which was very, very gratifying to them. And it was so nice to see in that video. We saw the executive team get up on stage and share in the receipt of the trophy. And Distech is really taking a step to the forefront. The Acuity acquisition of Distech and DG Logic has put together synergies that's catching everybody's attention. We know that Cochrane's taken a new dimension with Distech, and so I think what's going to happen is that they're going to really challenge people for certain areas, and one of those areas in the markets is going to be the VAV applications. Well, they are, but speaking of challenging, don't forget that it was a co-award there, and Honeywell Spider was a co-winner of this award. Sure. The more recognized, probably I think Honeywell's VAV, KMC's VAV, Siemens VAV, they're all incredibly good. In fact, one of the later posts we'll have with Bob Byron from Siemens is everybody is, those are the bread and butter applications. And the Honeywell Spider and the Striker, but the Honeywell Spider one are just excellently engineered controls. So yeah, it's great to see it. I get excited when I see the people that do all the work behind the curtain, the developers, the product managers, when they get a chance to come out to the Hollywood affair, the control trends, and get up on the stage. It's just so good to see that their faces light up and the pride they have in their products.
Well, yeah, Distech really, that was great. The way they hooped and hollered, like you said, was great. And then again, congratulations to Honeywell on that Spider. That's a staple when it comes to controllers. They do a great job as well. Well, you mentioned Bob Byron, so we have a clip of you interviewing him, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I was
set that up real quick.
Oh, ready?
Tell us about that.
Well, there was a vendor fair, just like you see at all the other. Again, it takes on kind of the similar format. So there's vendors that make the world go round. Connect Air was there, so I got a chance to see Sarah Monteleone. She said to say hello, and she's sells a lot of wire, and the Siemens Talent Channel has access to these third-party. Dwyer was there. Functional Devices was there, so I got to talk to them. But Bob Byron is the product manager. This guy he's really smart, and he really, really enjoys his job. So I said hello to him, and then I kind of did an ad hoc video because it's so well he explains it. But the RDY 2000, which was a thermostat of regard, it won the thermostat of the year, commercial thermostat of the year, has been improved even again. And what they're using it now is in the zoning space. The RDY 2000 can either be standalone or BACnet integrated, but they've kind of perfected the way to bring in demand control, ventilation. Siemens versions now is you can have a very inexpensive CO2 transmitter in the zone that's communicating with the RDY 2000 in conjunction to one of their GDE zone actuators. And what happens is the CO2 sensor now sends a steady signal to the thermostat, which is programmed. So if it goes under 800 parts per million or 900 parts per million, it lets the signal go through. The 0 to 10 signal from the transmitter will go and directly control the actuator to ensure that you're getting the minimum or the required amount of fresh air. So it's pretty slick. He used the term that was a low cost demand control ventilation.
Nice.
System.
Well,
Yeah,
let's hear what Bob had to say. Your conversation with Bob. So let's play that clip right now.
Super.
Now what we're doing here is we've got our RDY 2000 thermostat. Now this could be the standard RDY or it could be the RDY 2000 BACnet. Okay, we've got a QPA 2000 CO2 sensor and then one of our small damper actuators. What we're doing is we're taking that 0 to 10 volt signal from the QPA 2000, routing it to the RDY, and then the RDY reads that signal to determine what room CO2 levels are. And then we also run that signal to a dry contact, which is normally open, in the RDY. So as long as our CO2 level is below set point, and in this case I put in 1000 ppm as a set point, that relay is open and that 0 to 10 volt signal cannot pass through to the damper actuator. Okay. So our damper is closed. Now if we get above set point, what's going to happen is the relay in here is going to close, allowing that 0 to 10 volt signal to pass through and go to the damper actuator. So now what we have, when we're above set point, we have a modulating damper. And then once we go below set point on the CO2, now that relay opens, cuts off the signal, and our damper closes. Okay. Kind of a poor man's demand control ventilation system. You know, so if you've got a facility that maybe, you know, somebody brought up a situation of like a standalone medical facility, single office, but they want to have some kind of fresh air makeup system. This is a great solution. Or if you've got maybe a facility that has multiple buildings, but they're not all tied back into the network, they'd still like to have demand control ventilation, a good solution for that.
All right, big dog. Well, listen, back on the Control Trend site, Vicon had a security supervisor update. Tell our community a little bit about that.
Well, this is nuts and bolts. This was for the people out there that have the Vicon enterprise security solution out there. There was an upgrade to the MSSQL database. There was a patch. There was some issues there. Most people do use that MSSQL. None of the customers I knew, but the updates for the Vicon enterprise security supervisor to the 2.3.19.5 does not complete, and the MSSQL database is rendered unusable, which of course could be a very, very bad thing. Well, they've got it fixed. Most of the people use the MySQL or SQLite, and they weren't affected by it. But it's a good fix from the Niagara community for all the Vicon enterprise security users. So that's good news. It's always good when you get a patch that fixes things.
Yeah, well, good deal, good deal. So sort of getting back to the Siemens product line, particularly the Talon line. Now, did that used to be Stafa? Did they take the Stafa product and then sort of upgrade that, Kenny, or is this brand new? And how does it compare to what the branch has?
Well, it's interesting, and I'm learning more about it every time because the history is so incredible. When you had Landis and Gear, you had Powers, and then you had Stafa, and then you had Siemens. And so what happened was Siemens winds up buying all of them. So Power still has a big presence in the Talon, the PPCL, the Powers programming control language is still functioning inside of the Talon, but the Talon is unique in the way that it incorporates the AX or the Niagara 4 appliance, but it also has to talk to all those legacy systems out there. You're right. So it has to talk to Stafa. It has to talk to, some of those legacy systems that they're not the same as the branch. Much like the other manufacturers, there are, very poignant demarcations there, so that you can't, one does not necessarily mean you could do the other. Talon is its own product, its own product portfolio, its own channel, and they still compete very heavily with the branch. So the branch does it their way. So branch is primarily Decigo. Now you can use the Decigo in Talon. Like I say, it gets a little bit difficult and wordy, but the branch is going in for the whole enchilada, and they specialize in like critical environments, so fume hoods. They specialize in those vertical applications where you're doing the hospitals, the ORs, and elevators, and so they have a little bit more. It's like the Honeywell Enterprise or EBI, and like the Johnson's version, where they've got the Metasys that does everything. Where the tools that we use in our channel and in Talon channel are primarily used in HVAC and lighting or whatever. But as I say that, the world's unfolding. Now you've got guys down here. There's some large contractors down here that do it all, and they have the same talent levels as branches now. So it used to be that to be able to play that game, the ante was so high, and the requirement of expertise was so high that only a branch could really compete in that space. And now these entities, these companies that are master systems integrators, work probably on a parallel with the branches. They don't have multiple locations. I mean, Siemens has 8,000 employees here in the States, and 300,000 worldwide or something. So I mean, their economy of scale is just tremendous. So in that regard, these entities can't compete with that kind of space, but in their areas. And some of these people, like in California, Texas, they had a lot of case studies where these Talon dealers and contractors, they control their markets, and they have an incredible staff. And some of those staff members are actually doing some of the breakouts and stuff. So you get to see some very talented people. And you're right, the evolution of all those legacy systems now all fall under the Siemens umbrella, but they still have installed bases where they've got to work with the Landis and Gear, Landis and Stafa. Stafa Controls was by itself, and then they merged them all and took the best basically from all those protocols and those control lines, and now you have the Talon channel. So, which also includes Niagara.
Right. Well, in my team, and I think your brother David was telling me, man, that the depth of the drivers that they have. I mean, this is such a complete product offering, especially from a software standpoint, that from the Talon side, I'm sure from the branch side too, the drivers are in place to really be able to integrate with anybody. The word that I keep hearing is very, very complete in terms of the software piece.
Yeah. See, we look at the world, at least I did as a distributor prior to these recent experiences, that, our world was kind of the way it is. And actually, a lot of the way the world is equipment driven. So, your ability to integrate with Trane, Carrier, McQuay, and a host of other, major equipment manufacturers depends on your success in other places in the country, and from a different perspective ours. We always think that we'll come in, and if we can put BACnet or lawn or whatever, we're in our domain. But there's a much larger market out there that was chasing the equipment projects, and they had to come up with the drivers for them. And they also were very well schooled and all the other third party. In other words, the gateways and the drivers that they needed to be able to go and integrate with somebody else's system, they have levels of competency that you'd expect. It's just we never saw it before and weren't really aware of it because it's. You don't get to know what's going on until you actually get involved and make a commitment with it. So now,
yeah, and my guys are telling me, I think you told me too. I mean, you just before they even let you in the class, you have to do 40 hours of preliminary work, and then you went to an advanced class, 40 more hours worth of stuff. So they don't mess around with the training. But talking a little bit about software tools and firmware updates, back on the Control Trend site, we had EasyIO had some updates there, and you're starting to tear that up too, man. In terms of sales, and talk about that.
Eric, I think we're in a position now, and this time I've never seen such a rapid escalation of technologies, especially in the software side, move so fast. What separates the last thing I talked about is you're talking about a Fortune 50 company. Just to summarize the thing with Siemens is they're very concerned about their brand. In other words, so they really vet people well. And like I said, I was sat next to Steve Smitherman, and he is just a very, very intelligent guy that's really good at moving. And binding and understanding how the flows go. So you have a workflow. You got to drag things out. You got to connect them. You got to find things. You got to look for different problems that you may have created inadvertently, and you have to do that very quickly. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. If you do it once in a blue moon, you lose your proficiencies, and everything becomes a little bit more of a chore.
I keep telling my wife that, but go ahead.
So Siemens is one of a global brand, and so they work real hard to make sure that before you get a chance to go in there and really handle and represent their stuff, you've got a very strong background in it. You know what you're doing, because they don't like anybody having too. They don't believe too much is not necessarily a good thing. Just having enough is what they're after for the respective market areas around the world. When we change gears here and you talk about EasyIO, you're talking about a company that ran, that was eating rice while it was running to the forefront.
I hadn't heard that before. I like that.
And well, I mean, they just move so quick, and nobody's. They're very, very. They maximize every time they have a major update or firmware release. It is, really impressive. And what happened was in order to make the FG32 Plus controller, the Beast, a global controller that can handle all the markets in Europe, Southeast Asia, the Middle East. Now England has a big deployment, FGs, and the EasyIO growth in North America and Canada is incredible. And we got to see that hands-on, and we're going to a meeting in May where this is no longer a little company. This is a global company that has firepower on the controller that it's difficult for the major manufacturers to keep up with them because they're moving so fast and putting in such important IoT and HTML5. They work with Finn, and they got an Easy Stack now. The EasyIO people in Europe now have a partnership with a manufacturer for valves and actuators and sensors. So in certain parts of the world, EasyIO is now becoming a control platform. So that's when they become a real thing. So FG32. Well, I mean, I'm looking at this upgrade here, and again, I have just given credit and compliments because somebody is working their tail off. And
well, they are, man. When you just feed people rice and don't pay them, I mean, you can do that. But I tell you what, Kenny,
I didn't say that. Hey, I did say that.
But speaking of that, and for our Control Trends community, if you have not been to an EasyI Global Conference, Kenny alluded to the fact that Kenny and I'll be in Manchester, England, along with some of the top integrators on the planet for the EasyIO Global Conference, and that's going to be in May. We'll have some links on the website. You can sign up, but that is so worth going to, Kenny. Like you said, if for no other reason, the fact that EasyIO is just coming up with leaps and bounds, great products, great updates. The people are great, but to get to rub elbows with integrators from all around the world, the best of the best, and these guys, they entertain like nobody's business.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. That's what I was trying to allude to. And I don't want to apologize to them if I said something offensive there. My old boss in Germany used to say that while other companies were sitting down at the table to eat, we were going to eat our food on the run. That's where I got. In other words,
no, they are hardworking guys. That is for sure.
Exactly. And to the just to get back to that post and just complete that, and then I'll give the summary on the what they've got going on in Europe. They have a list let's see, we got this right here. It says why many of these enhancements and these updates to the firmware are required is because of the globability of the product. So they learned they had some issues here because in certain parts of the world this was a problem and they needed to fix it first. And then this was another. They got one of these big jobs and they started working with different data companies, and they had to meet this requirement, and then they worked with utility companies, and they had to this timing, this quickness. And so the thing about the EasyIO FG32 is it's the fastest controller out there, and so it's now when people can buy this very affordable controller, they're so formidable. But they got the BACnet services improved, the scheduling was improved, the BACnet client was improved, the Modbus TCP master gateway was improved, the Modbus RTO master slave, the implementation of TLS tunneling, the email service now supports SSL, SMTP server, and CSV attachments. They created a kit with the most commonly used control product objects that you can use one kit instead of two. So what that does is it reduces your bandwidth. So you just have an EasyIO HVAC and then an EasyIO Energy. So you can pick those kits instead of putting them all in there. You can reduce the number of items in your kit. And then they have a new kit. The new kit is called EasyIO Common, which has an analog filter V2, a lead lag, runtime, a PID, a sequence loop, and a single loop. So, I think SK Fu and his team have really looked at integration from the market standpoint, what was most important to get to the market the quickest, and that's what they've done. So they've done also on the CPT tool, they improved the dashboard updates, the SQL updates, the web server updates, and the tool updates. So, and what I like about EasyIO is that if you go to Control Trends and you go to the post that we're discussing right here, all the latest downloads are available from one Dropbox file. And so that is cool. So you're not chasing things around and not spending a lot of time signing on and going through things. You just get on it and download it and you're rolling. And so I'm sure people like in Europe, we're going to this meeting. I wouldn't be surprised if that was one of the major things to do, that is to break all these feature benefit improvements now before this meeting takes hold.
No, I think the deal in Europe is there's just going to be see how much beer we can drink. We're going to scrimmage with Manchester United. That's part of the deal, the soccer team there. So that's going to be cool. I mean, when we were in Spain and Real Madrid, you were hanging out at Ronaldo's locker and stuff like that. He wanted to get his picture taken with you. So that's one of the highlights. But
we sat in the trainer's chair. Remember, we were down on the field.
Yeah.
And see, that's another thing. So just reviewing their schedule real quick. Sunday night, it begins May 21st at the Hard Rock Cafe, the EasyIO Mezzanine in Manchester. Day two, going to get very serious. We're going to go business conference first, and then we're going to have dinner with some awesome entertainment. And then we're going to get back into VIP training on the next level of CPT and EasyStack. And EasyStack is really something that the EasyIO team is very excited about. And then you said it, we're going to go see a football game. We're going to see a soccer match of the highest caliber. And what really amazed me was that Manchester United is bigger than Real Madrid. I thought we were there, and I could have sworn after walking through that museum, I said it couldn't get any bigger and badder than this. It was like being at Green Bay, in their Hall of Fame, or the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Fame, or the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, these people take their sports to a religious level.
They do. They
build shrines to the players, and I was just so impressed with that Real Madrid. Now, Mike and the guys are telling me that Manchester, if you do your homework, you find out they're even bigger and wealthier and have an equally formidable,
It's the greatest franchise in sports history, bigger than the Dallas Cowboys and everything else. It's just, it's huge. So I think the takeaway here is you can still register for this conference, can still go. You'd be welcome there. Where else can you get a trip to Europe? Go hang out, go to a Manchester football game, watch Kenny play, because rumor has it you might hop into the game and play a little bit, and write it off on your taxes. But the only thing you have to know about EasyIO is they call it easy for a reason. Right. And with that, Kenny Smyers, I tell you what's our next take on video from the Siemens Summit? Who do you got queued up next?
Well, we have Mr. Scott Hamilton, the Senior Sales Director of Siemens. So we've talked to Josh Felprin, we talked to Bob Byron, and now we're talking to Scott Hamilton. And Scott Hamilton has taken over a large leadership role in the SBT, the Siemens business what do you call it? I just got another page or something's going on. But the leadership from a guy that worked a different division of Siemens means that, they're so used to working out issues and so used to moving forward and so accustomed to taking on, just challenges that, make you a better company and give you more opportunities to succeed, more opportunities to have successful outcomes. Or there's that, the old style that had, my way or the highway, or you can't do it. I don't want to talk about it again. These guys are really exciting their customers because they're asking for opportunities to expand into a business. To expand business opportunities in a mutually beneficial way, and he has the staff to do it. So you're seeing all kinds of lightning strikes going on where people from different parts of the country are asking, well, can we try this? Can we do this? And these guys are actually bringing this stuff to the tables and they're discussing it. And then I think they're very candid. They're very honest. If it's not going to work or it's a no-go, you don't waste any more time about it. It's just simply no-go. But
they're open. They're open to it. So without further ado, the man, myth, the legend, talking to Scott Hamilton, who's a very impressive individual.
Hi, this is Ken Smyers with Control Trends, and I'm with Scott Hamilton, the Senior Sales Director at Siemens. Scott, this has been quite a show, and we're day 2, and there's hundreds of top minds around the country. It's like being at the Pro Bowl, except it's for HVAC and building automation and systems integration. So how are things going so far?
Things are going great. This is actually our 20th year of doing the Siemens Partners Summit, and I'd say this year, every year actually seems to have more positive momentum year after year. We're fortunate to have some of the best integrators and control contractors in the country represent the Siemens products, and we're very grateful of their partnership.
So it's not over. Something big happening tonight. Tell us about the awards program.
Yeah, the awards program basically it recognizes the contributions of our biggest and best partners, and we have several awards tonight, including Dealer of the Year, and we're real excited to host these folks tonight.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Okay.
Hey, Kenny, man, Scott is very, very impressive. Good job with that little interview there. And hey, did you see our friend John Karzmazek? Was he there?
John Karzmazek, yeah, he was there. There was a couple of big meetings, and I had my notebook behind me somewhere, but we got to meet the president of Siemens SPT, and very impressive individual. And he talked, on a very 30,000-foot level, what's going on with Siemens, and explained the relationship of Siemens Americas versus, there's 5 Siemens regional locations: Europe, Germany, the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and then the Americas. And he's the president of that group, and introduced us to his team. And John Karzmazek is in charge of our channel. So John does a great job, and again, he's in his element because John's an outdoorsman, and this is I believe he's from Texas, but you can tell these guys are very comfortable in this element. I'm a Northeast guy. I'm I talk real fast, drive crazy, looking for parking spots where they're not supposed to be, and these guys are just the opposite. They're very very think everything before they talk. They're very comfortable with not moving impulsively. So it's really fun to be around the different parts of the country in one meeting, because you can really see and hear the different aspects of our culture from the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, and it's just a different way of life out here. So it's pretty cool.
Well, very, very cool. And what about one of our favorite salespeople, Ruth Hershey? She was up for the Control Trends Woman of the Year. Did you see Ruth out there?
No, I didn't. I saw Mary Weed.
Oh, yeah, she's awesome. She's
charges
awesome.
The drives, the BT300 expert champion. I talked to just a bunch of the technical people. Again, the people that you call in the helplines and technical support are all here now. So I mean, I've got all their cards, so that if I start a fire and I can't put it out, then I've got a number. So
now you're talking like a Southerner. Let's just start a fire and see if we can put it out just for fun. Hey, well, speaking of guys that have great tech support and great solutions, our next post up back on Control Trends was Blue Ridge Technologies winning the Lighting Solution of the Year. One of our favorite people, Bill Duckelberger. You talk about a guy who is in the South. We're fond of saying Bill is kind of like what would happen if Albert Einstein met the guy from Born to Be Wild. He's just one of the coolest guys we know. So Blue Ridge and their lighting solution, Kenny, what do you think?
Well, the video, I think, captures what we're trying to do. This is another signature video where Bill's pride, and he gives a thumbs up there, because he turns to his team and his customers that he brought there. Bill also built Blue Ridge Technology, had a pre-awards VIP party.
It was a great party.
And they, he had 50, 60 people, and they it's about business. So and that's one of the important things I think about traveling and going to these meetings is that the people now are starting to get much better understanding about the quality of life and how some of the companies have like one or two really incredible people that just lead the company forward. And if they would ever go, God forbid, or somebody they'd leave the company for a competitive team, what the impact would be. Guys like Bill Duckelberger have taken an understanding of the industry from the ground up, worked their way through a major corporation, loved what he did so much, he bought it, and now he is presiding over a product that seems to be catching a lot of attention because it's a back net. The whole thing's designed. What they won, and as I understand those panels, I've never put one in, but we've sold them, is that you got the low voltage side and you got the communication side. And so back net, it makes it so easy to get it up into the network, onto the network, and then start controlling things and integrating the lighting schemes into your HVAC schemes. And then it's easy to install. Everything that was as it was built from an electrician's perspective, that if you take the screw all the way out and lid falls off and you're in the ladder, you just got yourself a 20-minute delay. And so everything's designed and everything, the functionality and the form print are designed for minimum
minimum effort, maximum efficiency. And it's designed by a guy who's obviously done it, right? He's put his hands on it and done it.
He was saying that all the things that when he was out there in the field that used to drive him crazy were the first areas that he designed his enclosures to prevent that. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, he's one of my all-time favorite, Blue Ridge Technologies. I mean, you love Bill. You look at him and say, well, what do you do to get trained on this? How much does the training cost? He goes, it's free. You come to, he's just north of Atlanta, so we see a lot of Bill. Great guy. But sort of speaking along those lines too, Kenny, our friend Ted and Jason Houck from Hepta Systems, they've got a company called the Panel Shop. Sort of the same sort of thought process there that, you can only get so much in terms of product price reduction. And then it gets to how efficiently can you put it in. And these guys sort of specialize in putting Jaces in panels, and where if you're doing an integration job with a bunch of Jaces, they can send these things out. They're pre-wired, they're pre-tested, they're ready to go. It's the Panel Shop, SHOPPE.com. And, again, designed by experts to make things more efficient. And we're seeing some of the engineers in our territory that are liking that and are looking at specifying that like as a SKU, because that way, no matter whose Jace goes in, you get it in, and the customer knows what they're getting. So.
Yeah, well, we're seeing it too, and I looked at the pricing on that and the quality of the product, and it's amazing. So it's a UL certified. The panels are UL certified, so it's being done to the accordance with the requirements. Where some panels it's not required, but if you have to deal with UL listed stuff, these guys can generate that, and they do it. The more you buy, the better the pricing gets. But it's very affordable, and for those companies that have trouble and try to do it A to Z, take a look and give this thing a chance, because you might find out that it's less money to buy this thing already done up.
And just reach out to your local distributor, building automation controls distributor, and tell them you want a panel from the Panel Shop, SHOPPE. They'll put whatever Jace you want to put in there. And the only bone that I have to pick with Hepta Systems is they make no bones about it, especially Ted, that he likes you more than he likes me.
I never heard that, but okay.
Yeah, he thinks you're cool. He thinks I'm just a game show host.
No, the thing about Hepta System, and again, I will Ted a call, is that they are also master systems integrators of the highest dimension. And again, if you have people that need additional assistance and need help in getting that last 100 yards, we talk about the whole job concept and the analogies. It's a journey, and over a course of 8, 7 years, 10 years, you got different generations of controls in from one. Even if you're stuck with the same manufacturer, products run out. The ingredients that makes the cake that you use are no longer available. So everything's always evolving, but you got to make sure that everything's, it works forwards and backwards with these controllers, and to have that kind of a working knowledge, all that stuff, and then to know what the workarounds are, and to know the network tricks that you get from, contemporary controls, using this to do that, and, the gateways that make this possible. These guys, you can rely on somebody that when you need it done, they'll put that into, it's all part of their product.
Right.
That they,
Well, and talking about reliable people know what they're doing, a special shout out to my friend Steven Johnson. He runs the controls department over at McKinney's in Atlanta. McKinney's one of the largest mechanical control contractors on the planet. They do great work. They're big Control Trends fans too. So to everybody at McKinney's, we appreciate you guys. Baby needs new shoes. Keep those orders coming. All right, Kenny Smyers, we're about to wrap it up here. Speaking of easy, and they call it easy for a reason, our next video captures our friend Mike Marston accepting the award for the Plant Controller of the Year. And the question people ask is, does anybody stand a chance of ever winning this award? Because we've had it 5 times, and they've won all 5 times.
Well, you know what? And I think it's for a reason. But again, the video captures the whole moment, the rejoice moment, the thumbs up in the air, because he turns out to his team. And EasyIO had a large presence there, both of customers and their team was there from Europe. Johan Schackelrod was there, and we'll see him again very soon. But again, the drive of the team, the answers are, the results are always on stage. The wireless, the innovation of the company, the attitude that they have is that if they understand how things work and they think they can make a product that's going to get its share of the market because it has the tools on board, it has the latest and greatest IoT features on board. It has used to have a dual processor, and they've even increased that, so it's the fastest thing out there, and then it just makes it a one controller shop. So it can do a client server now for BACnet. You can actually use a FG32 and control so many zones for VAV, and then they're coming out with more applications. So, and another thing too is their ecosystem's growing. More people like it because it's open. They'll give you the whatever you need to write your API or whatever you're doing. And that saves a lot of grief when the time comes, because most of the time you got to come up, you meet an obstacle. You meet at some point where somebody's gonna say, no, I would love to, but we can't give away the sauce. We gotta have something. And these guys say, here's the sauce. Bake a cake, buy some controllers, and here's some more sauce. So that was it.
They rock and roll, baby, and they got like we said earlier, they got the big conference coming up in Manchester. And guess what, Kenny? Talk about application, that plant controller. We're actually going to be recording Controltalk now on an EasyIO Beast from the East, because it'll accept video, and we're just going to start recording with that. Forget the Mac. There's too many bugs in that. So I know Lim and Mike are working on a special Controltalk Now application, and we'll keep you posted when we record that first video on Beast from the East. And hey, buddy, you got to be informed. You got to stay in touch with Ken's calendar. And buddy, you got 30 minutes with LinkSpring. What do those guys got going on?
Well, I think the Niagara 4 hierarchies. So LinkSpring is an OEM, a Niagara OEM partner, and they are experts in the Niagara world, and they have their version of it. So they take the Niagara product, and they take that software, and then they tweak it to make it for their own applications and for their own desired markets and their partners. And so they've got a growing development team that has, large presence out there. They've already got a large installed base, and they take an expert, and they're going to explain how LinkSpring now has the integrated Niagara 4 feature benefits. All those upgrades now are available in your LinkSpring toolbox. And we have Amanda Toomey, the IEC developer and a member of LinkSpring's training team, will look at Niagara 4 hierarchies. She will examine all the facets of creating user-friendly data model-based navigation tree in Niagara 4 using the new hierarchies feature. She will cover simple hierarchy creation as well as each of the level definitions, along with how and when to use them. So it's a good stuff. It's a reward to the LinkSpring partners, because when you make an investment and you get your people trained, whatever, and then there's a big change like Niagara 4 did to the superseding the Niagara AX, a lot of people get a little concerned because they don't know when do we make the jump from AX to Niagara 4. Well, the reality is that they're going to stop making some of the hardware from the AX side in 2017. You're going to be going to the JACE 8000 whether you want to or not. And at JACE 8000, that core unit is going to be the single JACE created. There's not going to be different levels of JACE. It's going to be one same form print or form fit, and it will have everything and to include the security JACEs. So you're not going to have a different security JACE anymore. The SEC 616H is going to go away, or the 616, it depends on who you use. But you're going to get the same JACE 8000, and that security application will be in every JACE too. It'll just be enabled through licensing.
Very cool, very cool. Well,
you got to keep getting trained, Eric.
Got to keep trained, and LinkSpring does a great job of that. And listen, little known fact, do you know why David Letterman retired?
No.
The talk show host at night. Well, rumor has it that David Letterman saw a video of our friend and MC Mark Peacock of the Control Trends Awards, and he just said, "Man, I can't do it anymore. I can't keep up with this guy." So Mark Peacock, in addition to being just a marketing genius at LinkSpring and contributing with Haystack, is also the reason David Letterman hung it up. He just couldn't compete with Mark anymore. So Mark might be doing the late night show here sooner rather than later. You heard it here first on Control Trends.
Well, that's good stuff. And then I'll tell you, Kimberly Brown's probably going to take somebody's place too, because she's getting really good, huh?
Yeah, they're both good. But Mark is just the consummate professional. So a special shout out to Mark Peacock. And again, Mark, thanks for all you do for the Control Trends Awards. And we know, had videos on the Control Trends Awards. We also covered the 2017 AHR show. And our final post, Kenny, is you catching up with Functional Devices. So tell us about your interview with Functional Devices, big dog.
Well, the AHR show, it was a historic AHR show. The 2017 AHR show went past all the boundaries. It had the most attendance. It had the most, the record space that was rented out or, leased out at the trade show. So it broke every record. And so we always would say, trade shows can't live with them, can't live without them, or something cute to that effect, because you couldn't measure the efficacy of sending somebody there. Well, we're seeing now that the old school, the networking, the presence, that even if you're going to try to put a trade show on a digital format, and even if you had people walk around with cameras and they could see everything they could see remotely, they could see anything you see in person you can see remotely. It still is not the way the world's work. And the world's work is that you go and you take this opportunity. It's like the wild, wild west. You walk up to a booth and you see a new products, new things. They're looking for distribution. They're looking for networking. They're looking for stocking distributors and wholesalers and some of the old stuff that seems to constantly turn over. And as the fulfillment centers replace a lot of that business, there's new opportunities with new manufacturers from around the world. So this show here, it showed too that functional devices used to be kind of just a taken for granted thing, like staple, like Scott towels or like shampoo, the best at what they make. If you need to go get paper towels, you got Scott towels, and they were the staple for relays. Both the snap mounted relays had the
rib, baby, the relay in a box, man.
Reliable thing, and the relay in a box was the first real indicator that when I saw that and went into different projects and saw a contractor put a relay in the box above every single load, and their first diagnosis was, is that little red light on that gray box on or off? Because they knew if there was power to it, it wasn't their problem. The thing isn't working because something else. And so we got to talk to Maggie Talbert, and she explained to me first about the booth. Functional Devices invested in an extraordinarily pretty booth. The booth was very functional. It was totally social media generated. It was dominated with digital presence. It could be the big screen behind us. If you watch the video, you'll see that change and just tell a message to people walking by and catch attention. And then, of course, you see Maggie Talbert. She's Maggie is the Northeast account manager, and she is already taken on larger roles. She calls on us in Pennsylvania, but at the show she is a technical guru too, because anybody can walk up to any part of the booth and then start asking questions about different things. And Functional Devices now has a product platform that goes way beyond just functional device relays. They've got a BACnet UPS product now that's very reasonably priced, and if you want to make sure your network stays up in a power problem, you need to put one of these UPSs on your network to back it up. And then they've got wireless, and their products are so simple, but the way they can almost like read logic their products. So they've got the BACnet and LAN relays. So if you're running out of points and your network's available, you can put a LAN relay there and bring it in through your network instead of putting another controller out there. So they do a lot of well thought out stuff.
No, they do, and we had a chance to see Jim Hewitton at the Control Trends Awards, and it was great to see them there. So, Kenny, I tell you what, with that, buddy, I think we need to wind it down. Now, we'll be off the next 2 weeks, so Kenny and I are going to sort of retool some things, and we'll be back on probably 2 weeks from today. So we're not going away. We're just going to go get better. But with that, Kenny Smyers, man, good job reporting from Siemens, and I hope you have a safe trip home. And thanks so much for, man, making some time and doing what you do, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, Eric. Again, it's a learning experience. So it's like it makes me better in both worlds. I get to see what's going on, but I can know it for my own benefit. And wanted to say thanks again to you and your team, Steve Smitherman and Rob Allen, great guys. They're out there networking, and Rob helped me with some of the video thing, so appreciate it.
All right, very, very cool. So with that, we're going to put this episode to bed. My name is Eric Stromquist. He is the man, the myth, the legend. You've been listening to the Smart Buildings videocast and podcast. We appreciate you tuning in. So remember, we'll be off the next couple of weeks, but we'll be getting back to you. But remember, be bold and stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers. Man, you look like an Aztec god with all that gold, man. I'm envious, man. Envious.
I look yellow. I look gangreenish. I look like I got yellow jaundice.
Nah, man, you look like an Aztec god, man. That's what you look like.